Welcome to this week's Notsam's 90-Day Dissection, the show where we take the 90-Day Fiancé universe and we squeeze the entertainment out of every nook and cranny that we can find to the point where you don't even really have to watch the show anymore. And with 3 hours of new content this week, a service like this has never been so necessary. So let's get into it. We finally got to the finale, the two-parter of season 4 of Before the 90 Days. This week, it's The Couples Tell All. First of all, I love that this is The Couples Tell All, as if we didn't get every drop of content possible out of all of these couples over the course of 213 episodes this season. However, conspicuous by their absences on the tell-all this week, Geoff with a G and Varya, they were not there. Apparently, according to the internet, we don't read the internet, we just follow canon as far as 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days goes. But according to the internet, maybe Geoff with a G has some allegations of maybe committing some physical abuse, possibly in his past, and maybe some fans found out about it, and maybe they don't want him anywhere near this show anymore. And maybe TLC wasn't ready to tell all about that, maybe. So Geoff with a G and Varya are not on the show. Geoff with a G is pretty upset about it. He says he's been railroaded. Varya is standing by his side. But what about Mary? Poor, thirsty Mary. Is nobody checking on Mary? Something I realized this week. As many 90-day spinoffs as already exist, the show that this universe really needs is the behind the scenes of the creepy, toxic, high school-like community that apparently forms behind the scenes with the cast of 90 Day Fiancé. So, silly me, I thought that TLC was just following around some normal couples that happen to find love internationally. What I didn't realize is there is an entire second life that is forming between the cast of this show that commoners like us are not privy to. So we find out it gets awkward between British Tom and Avery from Ash and Avery. Already this makes no sense because Ash and Avery are over here in Melbourne or Brisbane or wherever they were in Australia, and British Tom was over from England hanging out in Connecticut with Darcy, trying to tell her that he had a girlfriend in England. Meanwhile, he's apparently texting this chick. He says, well, look, she said she was single. I was like, when did she say she was single? I didn't see that on the show. Apparently, somewhere else she said she was single. He was texting her. She texted Ash to be like, hey, Tom is hitting me up. Or maybe Tom texted Ash. I don't know. Ash found out. He completely embellished it. British Tom was like, everybody needs to chill out, okay? Avery, don't flatter yourself. Because I was texting you. But I was also texting Stephanie. I was also texting baby girl Lisa. British Tom is throwing out that bait. British Tom is literally texting every woman who's on the show. Do you know how many texts you have to send if one of them is, hey, baby girl Lisa, you were looking great on this week's episode? British Tom came clean, though. He said he was just being flirtatious and friendly. The only person he was really hitting on was Stephanie from Stephanie and Erica. And if Stephanie is the woman that Tom really has his eye on, I would almost guarantee that Tom did not watch the show at all this season. I have to confess to you, I never thought it would happen. I have another new favorite couple on this show. Everything changed for me in this tell-all. You can forget about Varya. You can forget about Lana. It's official. Baby girl Lisa, Usman, I stan. Now, yes, they had their difficulties on the show. We all watched it. Baby girl Lisa doesn't like it when Usman responds to women in his DMs, but she does understand that at some point, Usman is probably going to need to take a second wife and inseminate that wife. It's just one of the facts of life, regular relationship stuff. But what I loved, what I could do for days, is listen to baby girl Lisa explain Nigerian dating scams. I had no idea this whole world existed. I want to get baby girl Lisa on this show to just sit there for hours and listen to her explain to me what's going on. I had never heard of G-men. I didn't know what a Yahoo boy was. But apparently baby girl Lisa is getting hit up by them 300 times a year. That means there's only 65 days in any given year, maybe 2 days a month. 2 days a month. Lisa does not get hit up by a G-man or a Yahoo boy. Every other day, there is somebody in her inbox. She explained the whole thing. She said they start in your DMs. Then they move on to Google Chat. Then they get you in WhatsApp. And they go down that social media chain until, I don't know, somehow you're sending a whole bunch of money to Nigeria and you're assuming that Williams is going to talk to you. But this is the face, G-men. This is the face, Yahoo boys. This is the face of your nightmares. This is the guardian angel of the G-men population. This is baby girl Lisa. I want Lisa to get her own show. I want Lisa to get a show like Catfish, except instead of Catfish, it's called Yahoo Boys, and instead of Nev, it's baby girl Lisa. Meanwhile, Usman shined bright like a diamond. I mean, this guy, listening to Yolanda tell her story, Usman let her know that he didn't think that Williams was a Nigerian scammer. Not that Usman is a Nigerian scammer, but he knows Nigerian scammers. And he said that those scammers would never have spent as long with Yolanda as Williams did. That's not the way they act. Not him, they, not the way they act. Usman is sitting there judging the pickle that Yolanda has found herself in, and he had the quote of the entire season. I want to get this right. I have it here. He said to Yolanda, "This is something sense cannot take. How can someone be playing you this much?" That might be the classiest way to call someone an idiot I've ever heard. Speak of the devil, someone's ears are burning. We did get an update from Yolanda. Her power of positive thinking attitude is infuriating. Everything she says, it's like, well, things are good, things are not good. Yolanda has literally, she said, been in a coma while the show has been on, which, now that we know she's okay, might not be the worst thing in the world based on how she was shown on the television show itself. She is all better. She's awake. She's conscious. She's blessed. So I guess it's all good. Yolanda's private investigator returned, and this time he returned with information. He is back on Before the 90 Days to let us all know that although we've all spent an entire season of television knowing that Yolanda's boyfriend Williams has got to be a scam, he took the case. He did literally no research. And our eye-rolling friend exposed that Williams actually is clearly and obviously a scam. While he didn't present any necessarily new information, it wasn't that Williams claimed to live in Manchester and had no idea where the airport was, or the fact that he had no accent. It wasn't the fact that Williams' Instagram was taken over by a Ukrainian account. The smoking gun, not the red flag, the red banner that the private investigator told him was the key that allowed him to know that this was a scam, that Williams didn't exist, was the fact that Williams has no front-facing camera on his phone. Information we found out in episode 1. Leather Trench David of David and Lana fame piped up super happily, I mean over the moon, to try to put the heat on somebody else because he too thought that Yolanda was clearly being scammed and that Yolanda is very, very gullible. Yes, David, I believe you're right. I believe she is too gullible. We all know true love is when you meet a woman on a paid dating site, you talk to her there for 7 years, and she won't show up for one of your dates until the 5th time you've traveled overseas. Yolanda, on the other hand, has decided that she does finally believe that she is officially being scammed. She doesn't believe Williams is real, but she let the world know she is done being scammed by men. And if you believe that, I've got a great buddy named Williams I'd like to set you up with. We talked about Tom texting Avery because Ash and Avery broke up. What happened? Why did Ash and Avery break up? I tried to tell you a couple weeks ago on 90 Day Dissection. These two do not like each other. And whether they'll admit it or not, they don't. Here's the vibe that I got from Ash and Avery watching this show. Ash loves giving good news. Even if it means he has to lie, even if it means he has to avoid conversations completely. He will always be there to try to spin whatever's going on into some good news for you. He also loves being in the right. So if he gets caught lying or doing something wrong, that is your fault. Ash said that the reason he decided to end the relationship was because it took 110% of his effort. It was way too much work, and I believe that. Lying takes a tremendous amount of effort. It's exhausting. I mean, do you know how tiring it is every time somebody asks you something to have to make up a story about what's happening instead of just telling them what's happening? Although, you put that much work in, you can usually make sure that you're giving them good news. Ash is so into good news that he has gaslit Avery to the point that Avery don't know which way is up. Avery is sitting there being blamed. Ash is mad at Avery because Avery keeps thinking that they need to take a break. Avery is mad at Ash and thinks they need to take a break because Ash lies about everything. Look, there are lessons that we can take away from seeing things like this. It's not just Trainwreck TV. We can look at this couple and say, what is there to learn? Tips for maybe the relationship that I'm in. And these are the tips that I take away. If you find yourself in a relationship and your partner wants to take a break more than a few times, you probably shouldn't be in a relationship. And also, if you find yourself in a relationship and you realize your partner is constantly lying about everything to try to make everything seem like good news, that's probably another good reason not to be in a relationship. I'm going to be straight up. My plan from the beginning was to come on here and blast the show and say that I'm the one that should have been hosting the reunion tell-all. I'm the expert here. But Shawn Robinson was exactly what this show needs. Hats off to Shawn Robinson, you beautiful, brilliant, brutal goddess. I mean, the things that Shawn Robinson was saying without even blinking. Yolanda's going on and on about everything she's been through. The private investigator is letting her know about the red banners. And Shawn Robinson is turning around going, Yolanda, do you still love Williams? There is no Williams, Shawn. We already went over this. Williams doesn't exist. You're asking a woman if she's still in love with her imaginary friend. The woman's an adult. It's a crazy question. But so great. Because how do you even answer it with any semblance of sanity? Watching Shawn Robinson deal with Stephanie and Erica. These two are screaming at each other to the point where they're both in tears. They've said terrible things about each other that you could never take back about a person. And Shawn's follow-up question, once they stop yelling, is, so, do you guys think you could still be friends? How is that any way to settle an argument? No, let's agree to disagree. Let's let bygones be bygones. Do you think you guys will still be friends? Why and why not? We just fought about that. I love the fact that Shawn wasn't giving anybody an inch. Bravo, Shawn Robinson. You actually did a great job. Speaking of Erica and Stephanie, forget about the debate about whether or not Ash and Avery actually like each other. Erica and Stephanie downright hate each other. I have never before seen two people less equipped to be in each other's presence. It is downright violent. At one point, Stephanie did say that she thinks that maybe her and Erica could be friends from afar. But that was after Stephanie had repeatedly shouted that Erica was a narcissist. That was after they had screamed at each other over God knows what. That was after Stephanie's two friends, who we've never seen on the show before, came on the tell-all just so they could sit there and insult Erica and curse at Erica. And when Erica goes, why are you talking to me like that? The one girl, after dropping F-bomb after F-bomb after F-bomb, takes a sip of her wine and she goes, because I'm Italian. That's how we talk. I feel like in 2020, we should be past that, don't you? Fighting, cursing, Italian, I don't care. I think everybody involved here is the bee's knees. I think Erica and her friends are everything great about Australia, and I know that Stephanie and her friends are everything great about Westchester. If you told me that TLC was doing a spin-off show where it was Erica and her friends in some kind of fight to the death against Stephanie and her friends, not only would I not be surprised, I would be there every single week. We did, by the way, get an update. There was an update with this couple. You remember Erica was very upset throughout the season that Stephanie came all the way to Australia. And the entire 2 weeks that Stephanie was in Australia, she was never physically intimate with Erica. This completely baffled Stephanie. As we found out on the tell-all, Stephanie said before she went to Australia, Stephanie made a YouTube video for the world to see in which she explained that she is not intimate with people very quickly at all. And she was perplexed as to why Erica had not seen that YouTube video and taken it as a direct communication between the two of them. Yes. Silly, narcissistic Erica. Don't worry. We did get the final David and Lana update. Yes, Lana no-showed. Lana no-showed the reunion show where all you had to do was turn on a webcam. She was supposed to be there. There was no Lana. Watching this show, it made me feel like love was real. When Lana was real, I felt like there was real love in the world. The more I'm removed from that meeting, the more I think that Lana actually showing up might have been the worst kind of torture you can do to a man like David. Who, by the way, I had no idea what a professional David was. As far as these Ukrainian websites go, David says he has spoken to thousands of women on Ukrainian websites. He's been doing it since 1994. Before there were even dating websites, David was going through Ukrainian catalogs and picking out women that way. He said since 1994, he's been to the Ukraine over 20 times trying to find these ladies. I don't know if there's some kind of loyalty card program or maybe like one of those punch things where after a certain number of dates, the next one's on the house, but David's earned it. Big Ed shined so brightly in this segment. Watching Big Ed openly laugh at David as David explained his plight was about as entertaining as television can get. David is sitting there trying to explain that Lana is not using the iPhone that David gave her because it doesn't work right with her fingernails. All you hear from Big Ed in the background is, I mean, he doesn't tilt his head all the way back like that because he doesn't have the neck. So if you tilted his head all the way back, it would probably knock his whole body out of alignment or whatever. I don't know. But he is openly laughing at David. David starts, he sharts. He does. He sharts as he's shouting at Big Ed. Stop laughing at me, Big Ed. I'm going to turn off my camera if you don't leave me alone. Usman is having the time of his life listening to this story. So he's like, Big Ed, you got to relax, Big Ed. I'm trying to hear David's story. Big Ed finally calms down, and David says, yes, if you watch the episode, Big Ed, you would know she didn't even like the phone when I gave it to her, which is true. I mean, if you watch the episode, that is true. But he said, after all the effort that he went to, she is not using the phone because it doesn't work well with her fingernails, which I knew Steve Jobs had forgotten one thing before he died. iPhone and fingernails. Ugh. The only thing more insulting than having Big Ed openly laugh at David was the producers having the mail order Mark from last season, Caesar, show up as a character witness for David. See, Caesar showed up and he said that he knows there's no way that David is being scammed. And you know how he knows this? Because Caesar and David have talked to the same women online. And what do you think? They're both being scammed? No. We did leave with some news that I think was actually pretty sad. As far as David and Lana go, while they are still engaged, they are no longer together, which was only fitting. After all the hours we invested in television's most confusing couple, we're left with a conclusion that David Chase would say was too open-ended. And before we wrap this thing up, I thought Big Ed was great. I thought Big Ed stroking his poodle while everybody else talked was about the most hilarious thing I'd ever seen. And I had no tolerance for every other woman on that show judging Big Ed, talking about what an asshole Big Ed was. Was he the nicest guy in the world? No. Was he an asshole? Yes. But that's none of their business. Rose threw him under the bus. She told the world that Big Ed had asked her to send a sex video and he would send her some money. Big Ed said that wasn't true. In no way, shape, or form do I believe Big Ed is telling the truth. I believe that he was definitely asking Rose for a sex video, but he was kind of sort of dating her. Look, Rose had this look in her eyes as she was shouting at Big Ed. It was a murderous energy. And I don't mean like a murderous, like, ooh, she's really mad. I mean, I would hope that this woman doesn't have your address, Big Ed, because she wants to kill you. You went on television and announced to the world that she has bad breath, hairy legs, and rats in her shower. And now she wants to feed your head to those rats. Big Ed, I'm just saying, based on those eyes that I saw from Rose, if I were you, I would tread lightly. And that's it. We made it through an entire season of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. Well, not technically an entire season, I guess. Somehow, after both of these parts, there is another hour of footage from the reunion tell-all special that they're going to put on next Monday at like 11 or something like that. Look, we're going to skip that because there are far more pressing issues. Specifically, another 90 Day Fiancé spin-off show. Yes, the announcement was made that this Sunday, they are not missing a beat. I'm telling you, TLC is just the 90 Day Fiancé network. This Sunday, a new season of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, starts. That's the series where we take the couples that we met on previous seasons of 90 Day Fiancé and we see if their relationship and marriage has turned into chemical warfare yet. It may be something that we have to monitor. If that's a show that you want to see dissected, let me know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to Notsam on YouTube. Check out our other videos. Sam Roberts Now every Friday, Annoying Eater every Monday, and don't forget to hit that like button right there. Hit it. Hit the like button. Let me know. I think next week we'll be back right here to dissect episode 1 of whatever season of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After we're about to start. Until then, I appreciate you.